Tonight, the Actors Studio is proud to welcome Dan Castellaneta, Homer Simpson, Grandpa Simpson, Barney Gumble, Mayor Joe Quimby, Itchy and Herschel Smoichel Krustowski, a.k.a. Krusty the Clown, and Julie Kavner, Marge Simpson, Patty Bouvier, and Selma Bouvier-Terwilliger Hutch McClure, and Nancy Cartwright, Bartholomew, Bart, JoJo Simpson, Todd Flanders, Nelson Muntz, and Ralph Wiggum, and Yardley Smith and Lisa Marie Simpson, and Hank Azaria, Apu, Mo Sidrak, the Bumblebee Man, and Police Chief Wiggum, and Harry Shearer, Charles Montgomery, Monty Burns, Waylon Smithers Jr., Ned Flanders, Kent Brockman, Principal Seymour Spanky Skinner, Scratchy, and Rainer Wolfcastle. Ladies and gentlemen, The Simpsons. We have never had 30 guests on our stage before here at the Actors Studio Drama School of New School University. Let's start with the 6 voyages that converge on our stage tonight, beginning with Julie Kavner's. It should be noted that Julie has received 9 Emmy nominations, 8 of them antedating The Simpsons. What was the role that earned you your first Emmy?
The Rhoda Show.
Yeah. In 1986, you became part of one of the most prestigious stock companies in American film. Tell us about being directed by Woody. Did he ever get around to talking to you?
Very little. You know, not too much. If you were off the mark or if you were not in the right direction that he wanted you to be, he'd tell you and direct you, but he pretty much left it up to the people. I think his premise is that he hires people who can do the job and then he lets them do the job.
Most of us can remember how the Tracy Ullman show came into our lives. How do you describe the Tracy Ullman experience?
I think I did the best work of my life on that show.
Did you?
Yeah, Dan knows. I mean, every week it was doing live theater.
Castellaneta is an unusual and unusually musical last name, both euphoniously and rhythmically. What is its origin?
As I understand it, Castellaneta is actually a city in Italy, in the southern part.
Where were you born, Dan?
I was born in Chicago and for the most part raised just outside Chicago in Oak Park, Illinois.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Northern Illinois University.
Your major?
DeKalb. And I majored in art education. I was going to be an art teacher. But I always wound up going to the theater department.
Where did you go when you graduated?
I went and studied at the Second City in Chicago. It is like a graduate college, really.
Yeah.
First of all, if you start there not even good, you'll come out good. And if you start there good, you'll come out really good. You do 8 shows a week, and then 5 improvisational sets. So you're constantly going in front of an audience and doing material and working it out. And it was really a terrific time.
We appear to have another Midwesterner in Nancy Cartwright. Where were you born?
I was born in Dayton, Ohio, and raised in just south of there in Kettering.
What was lily pad?
Behind my house in Kettering, there was this big field, but at the top of the field was a radio station. And so I was working, I was scooping ice cream at that was my first job, but Jim Bennett, who is the president and general manager of WING, winging it in Dayton. home of the Wright brothers.
Yeah.
I'd gotten a scholarship to go to Ohio University. And he asked me what my major was, and I said, well, I'm not sure, communications, somewhere in communications. And he said, well, wouldn't you really rather work at a radio station than scoop an ice cream? And I said, yeah. So he hired me. Lily Pad was the name of the lifeguard who worked at this imaginary, it was the poolside show with Ken Warren, and she was sort of like Bart on helium. Because like, well, you're at the poolside show with Ken Warren, and you know, the voice was really high, but that was the first time that I was ever paid as a professional to do voice work. I got a letter from somebody it came to me from Hanna-Barbera, but I got a letter saying, you're not going to get anywhere in Dayton, Ohio. You know, you're a woman, that's not going to help. You have to be versatile. You can't just, one voice isn't going to get you anywhere. You have to train. At the bottom of the letter was this name. It said, you might want to contact this guy. His name was Dawes Butler. Turns out that this guy's the voice of Huckleberry Hound, Yogi Bear, Elroy Jetson, Baba Louie, Cogswell Cog, Peter Potamus, Elroy Jetson. He just like, he created all the voices for Hanna-Barbera that like Mel Blanc was Warner Brothers, Dawes Butler was the man. And we started this relationship. My goal was never really to be an on-camera actress or to be a stage actress. I had considerations about it and really just wanted to focus on my voice.
Here's another interesting name. What is the origin of Azaria?
That's a Sephardic Jewish name. My mother talked like this, as many Jewish ladies in this town too. And there were a lot of
He sounds
accents.
remarkably like Mike Myers doing his mother-in-law.
I know that woman, Linda Ruzanne. She grew up across the street from me. It's pretty much one voice they all share, I think.
Where did you get your acting training?
I went to Tufts University. I was interested in psychology, acting, and journalism, and I tried all three and found by not long into freshman year I was in the theater all the time. Studied there, and then a guy named, when I went out to LA, a guy named Roy London, I studied with. I got the most of my training from him for 5 years. What he was a genius at was sort of dropping the craft and saying, okay, now, who are you? And nothing's more interesting than how you'd honestly do anything.
I think if most of us were asked to name our favorite Hank Azaria film role, it would without question be Agador Spartacus.
Thanks a lot, don't be crazy.
The Birdcage has come up 4 times on this stage with Mike Nichols and Nathan Lane and Robin Williams and Gene Hackman. Where did you get Agador Spartacus?
You know, well, you know, just hearing Puerto Rican street queens growing up, mostly. If you
We
can
have heard
mimic things, do you hear this? Get off the corner, baby. Don't do this to me now. I realized, though, about 2 weeks in, that it really just sounded a lot like my grandmother. I could have done a Big Short. Absolutely. It sounded like my mother's. I love you, baby. Come here. It was, you know, Spanish accent, Sephardic Jews. So, then and then I made it my grandmother. I used that as a character.
Did you really?
Well, I did. You know, I didn't. I had to be so feminine in that role, and I'm so damn macho in real life.